So welcome back to Learning Partner. In this video, we are going to focus on how we can create login and the sign up functionality in Angular. So most of you must have faced this question when you appear for the interview and when you clear the theoretical round. Most of the companies will ask you to implement the login and the sign up thing. Now, some companies will provide you the API, and with that API, you have to do the same thing. But most of the companies doesn't provide you the API. They will ask you to do the login and sign up functionality with either JSON file or with the local storage. So why local storage? Because when you do with the local storage, you need to write whole code like storing the data into local storage, reading the data, comparing the in login, comparing the user credentials with the local storage data, right? So these things you need to implement. So company also can judge you on the technical basis, like how you do the same thing without API. Because with API it is very easy. You hit the API, you from API you get like the credentials are correct or not. But when same case happens with the local storage, you need to do that code. Okay, so in this video, we will just focus on the local storage. So this is just a login and sign up template I have searched. So you just have to simply search login page, HTML, CSS, and with the code pen, you get the ready-made example. Don't waste your time Googling or designing the page by yourself. So many already codes are there, ready-made, which you can use. So here, if you see, we have a sign up page. And if you click on sign in, you get the login page also. So some animation is also there. So we will try to implement the same UI into our Angular project. Now I have created a repository with this name Angular 17 login sign up local storage. Again, I will be doing this with Angular 17, but the same code will work with the previous version also. There is nothing different or nothing new feature we are going to use of which are provided in Angular 17. But just I have the latest version in my system, so I will be creating the project with Angular 17 now. So this is my, what do we say, uh, git clone URL. So I will copy it. Now let's go to a folder, local disk, YouTube, and Angular 17. So here I will just clone that. So CMD git clone. You can also do the same thing if you want to clone my project. So git clone, and you need to paste that URL from your GitHub. Press enter. So it said like cloning is done, but you appear to have a clone because we don't have anything in the repository yet. Now we have to open this. I will open a new terminal on this folder. Now I need to create a new project. So ng new. Now I will give the same folder name what I have. So this is the folder name. This just the project name over here. You can give your any while creating project, you can give any name, but I normally when I create, I try to keep the project name and the repository name same. Let's click enter. So this is Angular 17. So some different questions get asked when you create a new project, right? So CSS, if you are not using Angular 17, you will get a question like, do you need a routing file or not? You said yes. I'm saying CSS. Now this is Angular 17. So you need to, Angular team ask like, do you need a server side rendering? So I'm saying no, because I don't need it. Sorry, one more thing. I need to create the project with, what do we say, with the older version. So for that, standalone false. This should be my command. I forgot this because if we don't provide standalone false, the new project structure will be there without app module. So I need to create with the app module. Now, so this will be command. In case if you don't have Angular 17, the project will be pretty simple. Ng new and the project name. That's it. CSS no enter. So currently it is installing. Now if we see, we have got the project, but project we have created in this folder. So again, inside that folder, you can see one more folder is there. So I will just move this project to my parent directory so that in my parent GitHub repo folder only, I will have my project. Let's delete this. Either you can create the project first, then you can initialize the GitHub repository. You just have to use this command if you have already created the project. Now, let's open this, open folder, the YouTube Angular 17. This is the project. So now in this project, I don't have the node module. So what I normally do, because for videos, I create so many projects, but in every project, I cannot keep node module, right? Otherwise my system will, memory will be over within 10 to 12 project. So what I do in in this Angular 17 project, I have kept my package.json and I have did the npm install. So you can see node module folder is there. Now in each project, I create the shortcut of this project so that only a single copy of node module will be there. And in all my project, I will just use the shortcut. So let's use the command. So this is my command, which will create a shortcut. Now, when you create the shortcut, you need to open a command prompt with the administrative rights. And here you need to go to that particular folder, then cd, YouTube, cd, Angular 17, cd, Angular 17, login locals to get. So I'm in the particular folder. Now I just have to copy this command. So you can see symbolic link created for a node module. So now if I go over here, you can see node module folder is shortcut is created. So same like that, it is visible over here. Now let's get started with the login page. So when we are implementing the login page, obviously, once we do the login, we have to navigate somewhere else. But when the login page is available, we don't need to see that navbar and everything. Just the login page should be visible. So for that, I will create some folders. So in app folder, I'm going to create a pages folder. And inside pages folder, I will be creating folder components now. So first component I will create is login. ng generate component login. You can either use the short form or the long form also. So you can see the project I have created is with Angular 17, but you still get the app model because while creating the project, I have said standalone false. So we get the older project structure. So ng model say login component is created. After that, I will need one layout component. So the layout component we will use to keep our navbar once user is logged in. And once user is logged in, I will navigate the user to the dashboard component. So I will create one more component, that is dashboard. So three components I have created: login, layout, and the dashboard. So layout is the extra component which we need. You will get it understand once we start the implementing. Now, when we create the Angular project, by default, app component is our parent component, right? So now in app component, we get this content. We just need to replace that with router outlet. So we have replaced the same thing with router outlet. Now we have to create the router. After creating component, obviously, first thing you need to go, you should create the routes. So let's, so first route that is with that will be default with empty, then redirect to. So this is the route which serves the purpose of a default route. So if we don't have anything in the URL, where do I have to navigate? So login. And path my strategy also we need to pass with the value full. So this is my default route, first route. Then we have to create the route for my login component, path, and path name will be login. And component which I have to open is login. So we have created default route and the route for the login component. Next, again, we have to create one empty route. Path, it will be empty, but component for this empty route will be layout. And we have to add a children over here, square bracket. Now remember, like while creating components, we have created layout component. So when we run the application, by default, login page will be visible. But login for this login page, our app component will be our parent component. But once the user logged in, then we will navigate it to the dashboard. But dashboard will be children of this layout. So now the parent component will become layout. So there we will have the router outlet and the navbar. So whatever the component you want to visit after the login, all those should be part of the layout component. Means the components which you are going to, what do I say, in the which you are going to access, all those components will be children of the layout component. So here you need to create path, let's say dashboard, and component will be dashboard. So what are the component you are going to access after the login? All will be part, all routes you have to create it over here in the children's of the layout component. So this should be your routing file look like. Again, you can have a wildcard route with double star. We don't have so much thing, so I'm skipping that. Now, after login is done, first thing we have to implement the login. So let's go to over here. Now we need the code. So this is the HTML code. So I will copy it from this div up till over here. Let's copy, let's paste the code into HTML. Now we need the CSS. So I'm just copy pasting everything and I'm putting it into the login.css. Let's just save and run the application to check like if we are getting the login page as it is over there. Let's open the new terminal. To run the command ngs or serve, you can use the long form or the short form. So currently it is compiling. So difference between Angular older version and the Angular 17, build time is very fast, compile time is very fast. So let's open the local storage port to 00. So you can see it is looking like this, but it has not taken the full width. Let's say why. Yes, so you can see a body is there, but in our component, we are working on the single page, so we body tag is available in the index.html. So I'm going to replace this body with parent. Let's remove this star. We don't need it. And now this, I will create a extra parent component to wrap everything. This is the only thing you need to do whenever you copy the code from anywhere, because that code is intended considering in HTML page. So now you can see we have got a properly login and the sign up page. Fonts are not coming. Let's see why. Let's try to remove this and put it inside our index.html. So I'm just removing it from here and putting it over here with link. Let's try if we are able to see the proper fonts. Still, we are not able to see. Why it is not available? Okay, let it be. Don't worry on that so much. Sorry for the lag. Zoom got crashed, so you might see some disturbance. Now, so you can see font are properly available. That's because I had removed this code, right? Font family. So now if I add it, it is looking proper. Now, so in the example, you can see if I click on the sign in, this toggling is there. It is saying, let me just reload. So if I click on sign up, this form is visible here. Again, if I click on sign in, login form is visible. So this code, this toggling thing is added by the JavaScript, but we need to do in the Angular way. So if you see the JavaScript, what it is doing, it is just adding a simply active class. So let's just do the same thing. Let's try to analyze the HTML code. So here, so container is there, and inside that sign up div, and this is there. So where we have to add it, let me just check. Register button, not click container. Container is in this class. We are adding active or remove active. What is the container? Container is this. Let's just try to check it, how it is, by which class we are doing it. Let me just give it a second to analyze it. Let me just pause it. So anyway, let's do the by custom code, we will try to achieve. Now, once we click on the sign in, we need to show the sign in div. Once we click on the sign up, that div should be visible. So if we see over here, we have two divs, sign up and the sign in. So let's create a variable to toggle is sign in div visible. Just a boolean tag I'm creating. By default, let's say false, or let's make it true by default. So what I have done is I have simply created a variable that will be like is sign in div visible. Now this variable I will use by using ng only. So star ng if equal to this variable, and again I will use it on this variable. So if this variable is true, this div will be visible. If this variable is false, then sign up div will be visible. Let's just check this now. So currently sign in div is visible. Now if I say, if I make this variable false, let's see what happens. Still it is not visible. What went wrong? So on the container div, this active clause was necessary. So now if you see sign up page is visible. Now again, if I change this variable to true, sign in form is visible. Now we just need to circle it back. So on this button click, so where we have the button over here. So on click of sign in, so click this variable, we just have to make it true. So I'm not going to create a function, but here I will write the code like this. So if we click on the sign in button, this variable we have to true, and the vice versa. If we click on the sign up, this variable should be false. So let's check it now. So on click of sign in, you can see sign in button is visible. No, but why? Let me just pause and let me correct it. So that was my bad. So simply what we have to do, so to this container, we just have to add this class dynamically. If we add the active, this particular sign up div will be visible, otherwise sign in. And on these variables, I have just triggered the variable, and the variable was, the value was in vice versa. So I have just corrected it. So now if we see, so by default, sign up page is visible. If I click on sign in, you can see sign in form is visible. If I click on sign up, this is also visible. So our actual, whatever we have copied from the code pen, that same look and feel we have got. Now, next thing is we need to, on click of sign up, we are going to store the data into local storage. Means whatever number of users sign in, that data will be stored into the local storage. So first we will create the object. So let's say sign up obj any. Now you can create a class or interface, or you can go with any also. Let's just create a class since it's just a small video. Export class sign up. And here we will have the properties like whatever the fields we have in the sign up form. So name, email, and the password. Only three things are there. So name, string, email, string, data type, and the password, string. Now, if you see, we will get the error like these are not initialized. So let's initialize those in the constructor. Since it is a class, so we can always have a constructor. So in the constructor, we will just initialize them. Let me just correct the spelling. So this dot pass name is equal to empty. This dot password is equal to empty. So we have just initialized. Now, instead of any, you can use this class object we have created. Now, instead of this, you can just initialize, you can create a new object of the sign up like this. So we have created the sign up object. Just like that, we were going to need a login object also. I will just copy paste And I will write in login, we just have, let's see, email and the password. So with the email and the password, you are login. So we don't need name property over here and the name. Instead of sign up, it will be login. Let's instead of this model, and here also we will add sign up model. Just like sign up object, we are going to need the login object also. So that will be login object and the class name will be login. So you can see we have created two classes for the sign up and for the login, and we have created object of respective both. Now in the HTML, we are going to use the ng model. So before using ng model, in the app module, you need to add the forms module into your import section. So forms module. If you are going to use the reactive form, so you have to import the reactive form module. But I'm going with the template form, so I'm using forms module. Now over here, so this is our create account. So first we will complete the registration part. Ng model is equal to dot. Now we have to bind our sign up object. So sign up object dot. So now you can see as we have created the class, so you get the IntelliSense over here. So you don't need to, you are not going to make the spelling mistake and everything. So this is for name. Let's copy name, email, and the last one is the password. Now on click of sign up, we need to create a function. So click on register. This is the function name which we will create. So let's copy. Let's go over here. Now, here we will write the logic to store the data into local storage. But now if just consider like multiple users are going to register, means multiple time your registration is going to happen. So we have to store array of the registration into our local storage. So for that, first we need to read the local storage data, because if some registration data is already there, so we need to push our newly registered record into that array. So first I'm going to write like local users is equal to local storage dot get item. So let's say while storing, we are going to store the data into, let's say, Angular 17 users. So this is going to be my key where I will be storing the data. Now, so we just need to add an if statement. If currently we have a record in the local storage or not, with not null. So if we don't have any records, we will get it null. So if it is not null, means already we have some data. Now we just need to create one more array, local variable. Now while storing the data into the local storage, we are going to store the data into string format, because local storage will only allow us to store the data into the string format. That we will come to. But before storing that, we need to, when we store the data into local storage, it will be in the string format. So when we read it and again we assign it to variable, we need to again convert it back to the array format. So for that, I'm creating local, or let's say users is equal to JSON dot parse method you have to use. Now JSON dot parse method is used to convert string data into again object on the array format, whatever the data we had. So this variable we have to pass it over here. Means whatever the data we have in the local storage into this particular key, we are converting back into the user. So this if statement is responsible if we have already data into local storage. So now what we have to do? So users dot push. And what we have to push? So this dot register object, sign up object. So this if statement was responsible if we have existing record in the your local storage. But if we don't have, like this is the first time I'm registering. So now I have to create an empty array. Users with empty array. And to this empty array, I have to push the object like this only. And again, we need to, once we do that, local storage, now we need to store the data. Local storage dot set item. Set item. And the key which we are going to use is this one only, Angular 17 user. And what we need to push? The array. That is, in local storage, we are going to store the array of the users. But this is an array. But while storing the data into the local storage, we need to convert it back. So JSON dot stringify. Stringify is the method which will convert the data object or the array into the string format. So users, this variable we have to pass local variable. So when we are storing the data, we are converting array into string and we are storing into the local storage. The same line, we will have it over here also. So let's add a debugger and let's debug it properly. So we can just analyze both the cases. If we are registering for the first time and if we have a record already existing. Let's open the console. Now just pay attention properly. Now on click of register, let me register with my name, Chetan at the rate dummy.com. Password, I'm entering 112233. Now on click of sign up, we will call our function. What is the error we have? Okay, so error we have, like somewhere we have forgotten name field. So if you are using ng model inside the form tag, all your element should have a name tag. So everywhere it is remaining. So this become mandatory if you have if you are using ng model inside a form tag. So then you need to add a name tag also. Otherwise, it will throw that error. So let me just do it over here. That's it. So let's just save. Now we won't have that error. You can see we are not having that error. Let's try entering data again. One one two two three three. Now if I click on sign up, our function will be triggered. So here what we have did, first we are trying to read the data from the local storage. So currently in the local storage, so you have to go to the application, local storage. Let me just, so currently I just have a ticket data. So, but we don't have any data with this key. So you can see in local user, we have got null. So if it is not null, it will go inside the block, but currently it is null. So it will go over here in the else block. So we have created a local array and sign up object. You can see we have got the data, whatever we have filled inside the form that we have pushed into this local array. So users will have a one entry. Now this users array, we are going to push into our local storage. If I continue and if I check it over here, now you can see in Angular 17 users, we have got the data. Let's reload one more time and let's try to register second user. Let's say Rahul at the rate dummy.com. Password, let's say 223344. Let's click on sign up. Now, currently we have the data already. One user was already registered. So in local storage, we have the data. So now if you see in local user, we have got the data. Now it is not null. So if it is not null, it will go inside the if block. So now if you see over here, the data we have stored was in the string format. Now we are just converting it back to the array format using json.parse. So users, you can see it is again converted back to the array format. So local user, you can see it is in a string format, but users is in the array format. Now the new record, Rahul record, we are going to push into this array. So now in users array, we have got two record. No, something is not right. So in user, we have this. Why it is showing sign up model? Sign up model. Okay, let's see. Why it is coming as sign up model and inside that we have the object. Let's try to continue and let's see in the local storage. Yeah, so data is inserting getting properly. So you can see we have got two records now. One is Chetan and second is the Rahul. So this is just the logic. When you do the sign up in the local storage, this kind of code you need to write. If it is the first time, this block will run. If user is already there, this block will run. So registration part is done. Now after register, we can just show like just alert box, like registration success. Now let's do one more time so that we will confirm that alert pop-up. ram at the red dummy.com. password 334455. So we are registering 3 users. On click of sign up, we have got the message registration success, and in local storage we will be able to see 3 records are there: Chetan, Rahul, and the dummy. Now we have to start on the login part. So in login form, we just have to pass 2 fields, email and the password. Now this is something tricky. So login model we have already created. Object is also created. Now we just need to bind this to our form. So this was a sign up form. So here, square bracket, round bracket, ng model. And here we need to bind login object dot email. Let's copy. Let's paste it on the password. We have to bind it with the password as our input element inside the form tag. Again, name attribute becomes mandatory. So name is equal to email. Whatever the property name you give, same you can give it over here also. And password. Now on click of sign up, we need to write the function. So click on login. Now let's create this function on below the register. Now here, now in normal scenario, if we have the API call, we would pass this object to the API, and API will validate like user credentials are correct or not. But currently we have the data into the local storage. So whatever user type on click of sign in, we need to validate that. So let's write the logic to validate. So we have the data into the local storage. So first we need to read the data in local variable, local users, local storage, dot get item. So the same key which we have used over here, the same key we have to use it. So whatever the user registered and that data got stored into the local storage, we have read that. Now we just need to add an additional null check because once we read the data from the local storage, we have to add a null check because it can be null, right? So with null, we cannot perform anything. So we have read the data from the local storage. Now here you need to write the check. Whatever the credential user has passed are present over here, present in the local storage or not. So constant is record is user present is equal to. Now we are going to use before. So we have read the local storage data, but we need to convert it into the array format also. So constant users JSON dot parse, and we need to pass the local user variable because here we have the local data. Now in this array we are going to have the actual array. So users dot find method I have to use. So find method will normally work on the array because in the users we are going to have the array of the user. So here I will write m dot. Now I need to compare also. Why it is saying error? We have to provide the data type. So now data type is nothing but m, or let's say user colon. The data type is of the sign up model because in the local storage we have stored this data. So now user dot, you can see we have to compare with email equal to this dot login object dot email because we have to compare with the details filled in the form, and we need to compare email and the password also. So user dot password is equal to, again we have to compare this with login object dot password. So this is my query by which we will make sure like we are comparing the details entered into the login form with the array we have in the local storage. Again, you need to add a null undefined check. If we find the record, we will get the data over here. But if we don't find any matching record, we will get this variable as undefined. So if this is not equal to undefined, means we have got the variable. So we will show alert like user found. And once we found the user, we have to navigate to the dashboard page. So in constructor, I will create object of router because we have to navigate. So now here, once we found the data, we have to navigate. So this dot router dot navigate by URL, and we have to navigate to dashboard. Let's get the path. This is the path. It will go over here. Now, before navigating, as we discussed, once we got the user, we need to store the data into the again local storage as a logged in user. Because once user logged in, we should know na, like which user is logged in. So that data we need to store it somewhere. So before navigating, local storage dot set item. Now this is the another key, logged user, and we have to store the data. But is user present will have an object. So obviously when storing the data again, we need to convert it back. So JSON.stringif and we need to pass the data, right? Once we store the logged in user data into local storage, we will navigate to the dashboard. So this if block is responsible if we found the user, but if we don't find it, we have to show alert like please enter proper credential. Or let's say no user found. That will make more sense. Let's save. Let's add a debugger also so that I can show you like how this code is going to work. Now on click of sign in. So what are the details we had? First, I will try the wrong one. So this data we don't have. Now let's check how does our code work for the wrong credential. So on click of sign in, you can see our function got triggered. First, what we have did, we have read the data from the local storage, but it is in the string format. Now inside if statement, we will convert the data into the array format. So you got it. Now here we are trying to check if the data is present in the local storage or not. So currently we don't have any record with matching this email ID and this password. So we have got undefined error. If it is undefined, it will go to the else block and we will show user not, no user found. Let's try to enter the correct detail. So chetan@dummy.com and password is 112233. So chetan@dummy.com and the password also 112233. I'm entering. On click of sign in. Now you can see in the login object, we have the correct credential. Now we will get the data. So now in user present, see, we have got the data. Now it is not undefined. So it will go inside the if statement. It will show the pop-up like user found. Then it will store the data into the local storage. Currently in the application, we don't have any key like that, but we will store it right now in the key logged user. And we are navigating to the dashboard. So here we have successfully navigating to the dashboard. And if you see the local storage, so logged user data, we have the detail of the logged user. Now this data you can, in the layout component, you can add a, one thing I have left. So in the layout component, you have to add a navbar over here. So let's get the navbar. Bootstrap W3, we should have done it in the early. Let's do it. Let me just get the dark one. Yeah, so this one I will be using. So in layout component, you have to add the navbar. And after navbar, you will have again the router link, router outlet, because this is the page where activated route will be visible after the login. And what else is needed? Yeah, so that's it. So let's just try to save. So now, okay, Bootstrap seeding link. We have not installed the Bootstrap seeding link, but for now I will copy it and add it in the index.html. Just for now, but you should install it whenever you are appearing for the interview. You should do the npm install and add the link into angular.json. It is not still available. Why Bootstrap classes is not getting added? Yes, but why? Again, I need to compile. Let's try to compile again so that we can make sure that dashboard is visible properly. ng serve. Let's reload. Yes, so you can see after again compiling, I can see the properly navbar. So here you can have the log off button and you can show the logged in username, and on log off you have to clear this variable, that is logged user, so that we know that user is not logged in. So this was a small video where I had need to show you like how do we do login and the registration part, or rather let's complete that also. So here we need to show the logged in username. Let me just get the right template. We will need, yeah, this one. We need that log off and the logged in button at the end. So let me just find that code. Yes, so this form I need. Now this will go after this UL over here. Let's see if we get that. Yes. So now instead of this text box, we will show the logged in username. Now, how do we know like which user is logged in? In the local storage, in this particular key, we have stored the data. So now in the layout component on the page load, we need to read the data from the local storage. So let's create a variable that is logged user with data type any. Now over here, constant local day user local storage dot get item. And we need to pass the key in which we have stored the logged in user data. That is this key, logged user. So this we have to use it over here. And again, if statement, if local user not equal to null, we are going to store the data into this variable. So this dot logged user, but while storing, because while storing, we have stored the data into the string format. So again, if we are reading, we need to convert it back to the object. So JSON dot parse method, and we need to pass this variable over there. So on the page load, we will have the data in this variable. So this, we will use it to display. So here, logged user, question mark dot email. Why I have added question mark? Because on the page load, it is undefined now. So we cannot read something out of undefined. That's why I have added the null check. Then instead of search, it will be log off. Let's create a function on this button clicks. So click on log off. Let's create this function. Now on log off, what we need to do, we just need to remove the local storage data and we need to redirect to the login page. So local storage dot remove item, which data we need to remove? Just the logged in data. So this variable, sorry, key, and we need to redirect. Again, we need to redirect. So we have to create private object of the router. So this dot router dot navigate by URL, and we need to navigate to login. Now let's check the whole functionality one more time. Okay, it is visible, but it is in the dark. So let's just add a text white color to this. Let's add a span text white. Let's remove this from here and let's put it inside the span tag. Let's save. Now you can see logged in username is visible. So if we click on the log off now, you can see we are again over here. Let's try to register again. Let's say Sham @dummy.com. The password will be 445566. Sign up. User registration is success. Let's try to sign in with Sham. Sham@dummy.com. And the password I'm entering for the wrong one, just to test the wrong credential one. So you can see no user found. Let's try to enter the correct password 4455566. User found, and it is navigating, and whatever the logged in username, it is visible over here. If we say log off, again we are back to the login page. So this is the whole functionality I wanted to explain. Hope you are finding these videos helpful. Please do like and subscribe. So that's it with this current video. Again, I will be coming with some more project ideas and some interesting topic like this one. So please keep stay tuned. So that's it.